is the Batman animated show. I don't know. My friend told me it's like a little too spooky sometimes for him to like go to sleep. It's just like a little off. But that like retro aesthetic is really like, it's cozy to me. And Scooby-Doo, especially like old Scooby-Doo, like the classic. That is just comfort shows for me. Really, that's probably the reason why. But other than those, something that helps me as well is ASMR, of course. That's a very nice, cozy thing to put on, especially because growing up, I always used to like go to sleep with my TV on. So, it's kind of like that for me, but it's sometimes purposely targeted for going to sleep, right? But I'll tell you my third, you can maybe call it fourth if you count Scooby-Doo. The Batman show is two different ones, but the fourth thing, after the TV shows, after ASMR, is reading. And you could make the argument that that's probably one of the best things. Then again, I feel like ASMR has to have like, I don't know, positive brain things, right? Either way, I especially at one point a couple years ago, I remember specifically trying to look up like boring prose to fall asleep to, and this was like, I found like specific like websites dedicated to this. I can't remember what they are at this point, but I used to have them bookmarked, and that got me thinking, like, what's a book that might be on par with that, right? I was thinking a classic, of course, right? And I mean, don't get me wrong, Alice in Wonderland was great, but I kind of like reading that one for the story itself. Lord of the Rings, that'll put me to sleep pretty easily, but I feel like I wanted something else, because Lord of the Rings, though I love it, feels like a pretty big like dedication, right? You know what I mean? I mean, part of it is because it's such a big book, especially the version that I have, right? But I was looking at my books, and I thought you might appreciate this one. I know that I do. And all that being said, long story short, right? I was thinking that we could read a book that I booked out together. It's technically a collection of short stories and I think some novels, I believe. And it's a classic. And I think can be potentially interesting. I mean, I got it with the interest of the story, of course, but I think that it can be multifaceted. be down. Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I've read a couple chapters out of it before, but honestly didn't get much further than that. I think it'll be fun. And if anything, a nice little story just to relax to, right? But yeah, I don't know how far we'll get, but the chapters are relatively short in this first book, so maybe we'll read a couple. Cool. Well, without further ado, let's hop into Sherlock Holmes, shall we? After a few minor adjustments, I have returned. I have prepared myself. So, this first one that we're going to read, I believe is like an actual novel, if I understand it to be correct. It's A Study in Scarlet. Need to get past all of that introduction. So yes. I love this book too, because the pages feel so nice. They're very soft in the old book sort of way. I don't know, I just love the aesthetic of this book for some reason. I don't know. Alright. Part 1. Being a reprint from the reminiscences of John H. Watson, M.D., late of the Army Medical Department. So just a forewarning, there's definitely going to be words that I'm going to just mess up. Say that be, that's part of the fun of reading, right? Learning new words. Gunking them up as I say them. Alright. So, Chapter 1, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. So this is part 1, chapter 1. In the year 1878, I took my degree of Doctor of Medicine of the University of London and proceeded to neatly to go through the course prescribed for surgeons in the Army. Having completed my studies there, I was duly attached to the 5th Northumberland Fusiliers as assistant surgeon. The regiment was stationed in India at the time. Before I could join it, the Second Afghan War had broken out. On landing at Bombay, I learned that my corpse had advanced through the passes, was already deep in the enemy's country. I followed, however, with many other officers who were in the same situation as myself, succeeded in reaching Kandahar in safety, where I found my regiment and at once entered upon my new duties. The campaign brought honors and promotion to many, but for me it had nothing but misfortune and disaster. I was removed from my brigade and attached to the Berkshires, with whom I found at the fatal battle of was struck on the shoulder by a Drasil bullet, which shattered the bone and grazed my subclavicular artery. I should have fallen into the hands of the murderous Ganzis had it not been for the devotion, courage shown by Mr. Murray, my orderly, who threw me across a back course and succeeded in bringing me safely to the British lines. Worn with pain and weak from the prolonged hardships which I had undergone, I was removed with a great train of wounded sufferers to the base hospital at Peshawar. Here I rallied, and had already improved so far as to be able to walk about the wards, and even to bask a little upon the veranda, when I was struck down by an enteric fever, that curse of our Indian possessions. Keep in mind this is an old book, so there might be some outdated thoughts here. Anyways, for months my life had despaired of, and when at last I came to myself and became convalescent, I was so weak and emaciated that a medical board determined that not a day should be lost in sending me back to England. I was dispatched accordingly in the troop ship Orontes, and landed a month later on Portsmouth jetty, with my health irreparably ruined, but with permission from a paternal government to spend the next 9 months in attempting to improve it. I had neither kith nor kin in England, and was therefore as free as air, or as free as an income of 11 shillings and 6 pence a day will permit a man to be. Under such circumstances, I naturally gravitated to London, that great cesspool into which all the loungers and idlers of the empire are irresistibly drained. There I stayed for some time at a private hotel in the Strand, leading a comfortless, meaningless existence, spending so much money as I had considerably more freely than I ought. So alarming did the state of my finances become that I soon realized that I must either leave the metropolis and rusticate somewhere in the country, or that I must choose to make a complete alteration to my style of living. Choosing the later alternative, I began by making up my mind to leave the hotel and take up my quarters in some less pretentious and less expensive domicile. On that very day that I had come to this conclusion, I was standing at the Criterion bar when someone tapped me on the shoulder. Turning around, I recognized young Stamford, who had been a dresser under me at Bart's. The sight of a friendly face in the great wilderness of London is a pleasant thing indeed to a lonely man. In old days at Stamford had never been a particular crony of mine, but now I hailed him with enthusiasm, and he, in his turn, appeared to be delighted to see me. In the exuberance of my joy, I asked him to lunch with me at the Holborn, and we started off together in a hansom. "Whatever have you been doing with yourself, Watson?" he asked, in undisguised wonder, as we rattled through the crowded London streets. "You are as thin as a lath and as brown as a nut. By the way, this is in Watson's perspective, which, if I'm correct, I think that, like all elaborate sketch of my adventures, and had hardly concluded it by the time that we reached our destination. "Poor devil," he said commiseratingly, after he had listened to my misfortunes. "What are you up to now?" "Looking for lodgings," I answered, trying to solve the problem as to whether it is possible to get comfortable rooms at a reasonable price. Relatable. "That's a strange thing," remarked my companion. "You are the second man today that has used that expression to me." "And who was the first?" I asked. "A fellow who is working at the chemical laboratory up at the hospital. He was bemoaning himself this morning because he could not get someone to go halves with him in some nice rooms by which he found, and which were really too much for his purse." "By Jove," I cried, "if he really wants someone to share the rooms and the expense, I am the very man for him. I should prefer having a partner to being alone." Young Stamford looked rather strangely over his wine glass. "You don't know Sherlock Holmes yet," he said. "Perhaps you would not care for him as a constant companion." "Why, what is there against him?" "Oh, I didn't say that there was anything against him. He's a little queer in his ideas. An enthusiast in some branches of science. As far as I know, he is a decent fellow enough." "A medical student, I suppose," said I. "No, I have no idea what he intends to go in for. I believe he is well up in anatomy, and he is a first-class chemist. But as far as I know, he has never taken out any systemic medical classes. His studies are very desultory and eccentric, but he has amassed a lot of out-of-the-way knowledge which would astonish his professors." "Did you never ask him what he was going in for?" I asked. "No, he is not a man that is very easy to draw out through, though he can be communicative enough when the fancy seizes him." "I should like to meet him," I said. "If I am to lodge with anyone, I should prefer a man of studious and quiet habits." "I don't think he's gonna be quiet." "I am not strong enough yet to stand much noise or excitement. He's also definitely not gonna be dull." I had enough of both in Afghanistan to last me for the remainder of my natural existence. How could I meet this friend of yours? "He is sure to be at the laboratory," returned my companion. "He either avoids the place for weeks, or else he works there from morning till night. If you like, we will drive round together after luncheon." "Certainly," I answered, and the conversation drifted away into other channels. As we made our way to the hospital after leaving the Holborn, Stamford gave me a few more particulars about the gentleman whom I proposed to take as a fellow lodger. "You mustn't blame me if you don't get on with him," he said. "That's not a good sign. I know nothing more of him than I have learned from meeting him occasionally in the laboratory. You propose this arrangement, so you must not hold me responsible." Double insuring right there. Holmes is a little too scientific for my taste. It approaches to cold-bloodedness. I could imagine his giving a friend a little pinch at the latest vegetable alkaloid, not out of malevolence, you understand, but simply out of the spirit of injury, in order to have an accurate idea of the effects. To do him justice, I think that he would take it himself with the same exact readiness. He appears to have a passion for definite and exact knowledge. Great, your future roommate might be like poisoning you just to see the effects. But don't worry, he'll take them too. Okay. Very right, too. Yes, but it may be pushed to excess when it comes to beating the subjects in the dissecting rooms with a stick. It certainly takes rather bizarre shape. Beating the subjects. Yes, to verify how far bruises may produce after death. I saw him at it with my own eyes. And yet you say he is not a medical student. No, heaven knows what the objects of his studies are. But here we are, and you must form your own impressions about him. As he spoke, we turned down a narrow lane and passed through a small-sided door, which opened into a wing of the great hospital. It was familiar ground to me, and I needed no guiding. As we ascended the bleak stone staircase, we made our way down the long corridor with its vista of whitewashed wall and decolored doors. Near the farther end, a low arched passageway branched away from it and led to the chemical laboratory. I'm kind of confused if Watson has like been to the school before, or if he's just like familiar with like hospitals. Okay. Again, just okay. There was a lofty chamber, lined and littered with countless bottles. Broad, low tables were scattered about, which bristled with retorts, test tubes, and little Bunsen lamps, with their blue, flickering flames. There was only one student in the room, who was bending over a distant table, absorbed in his work. At the sound of our footsteps, he glanced round and sprang to his feet with a cry of pleasure. I found it, he shouted to my companion, running towards us with the test tube in his hands. I have found a reagent which is precipitated by hemoglobin and by nothing else. He had discovered a gold mine. Greater delight could not have shone upon his features. Dr. Watson, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, dun dun dun, and then history began. And said Stanford, introducing us. How are you? He said cordially, gripping my hand with a strength for which I should have hardly have given him credit. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. How on earth did you know that? I asked in astonishment. Never mind, he said, chuckling to himself. The question now is about hemoglobin. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine. It is very interesting chemically, no doubt, I answered, but practically, why, man, it is the most practical medical legal discovery for years. Medico-legal, okay. Don't you see that it gives us an infallible test for blood stains? Come over here now. He seized me by the coat sleeve with his eagerness, drew me towards a table at which he had been working. Let us must have some fresh blood, he said, taking a long bodkin into his finger and drawing off the resulting drops of blood in a chemical pipette. Now I add this small quantity of blood to a liter of water. You perceive that the resulting mixture has the appearance of pure water. The proportion of the blood cannot be more than 1 in a million. I have no doubt, however, that we shall be able to obtain the characteristic reaction. As he spoke, he threw into the vessel a few white crystals and then added some drops of transparent fluid. In an instant, the contents assumed a dull mahogany color, and a brownish dust was precipitated to the bottom of the glass jar. "Ha ha!" he cried, clapping his hands and looking in delight as a child with a new toy. "What do you think of that?" "It seems to be a very delicate test," I remarked. "Beautiful, beautiful. The old Geiseum test was very clumsy and uncertain. So was the microscopic examination for blood corpuscles. The later is valueless if the stains are a few hours old. Now that appears to act as well whether the blood is old or new, and the test has been invented. There are hundreds of men now walking the earth who would long ago have paid the plenty of their crimes." I'm starting to get a little sleepy. We'll see how far we can make it through this, okay? Closing my eyes feels so nice. Okay. "Indeed," I murmured, "criminal cases are continually hinging upon that one point. The man is suspect of crime months perhaps after it were to have happened. Perhaps after it had been committed. His linen or clothes are examined, and the brownish stains discovered upon them. Are they blood stains or mud? Or mud stains, or rust stains, or fruit stains, or what are they? That is a question which has puzzled many an expert. And why? Because there was no reliable test. Now we have the Sherlock Holmes test, and there will be no longer any difficulty. Yay! Lord, decisive. You seem to be a walking calendar of crime, said Stanford with a laugh. You must start a paper of those lines. Call it Police News of the Past. Very interesting reading, it might be able to. Okay. Gotta make it through this. Alright. Very interesting reading, it might be made to, remarked the Sherlock Holmes, sticking a small piece of plaster over the prick on his finger. I have to... Okay. I have to be careful, he continued, turning to me with a smile. For I dabble with poisons a good deal. He held out his mouth as he spoke, and I noticed that it was all molded over with similar pieces of plaster and discolored with strong acids. What? We came here on business, said Stanford, sitting down on a high three-legged stool and pushing another one in my direction with his foot. My friend here wants to take diggings, and as you were complaining that you could not get no one to go halvesies with you, I thought that I had better bring you together. Sherlock Holmes seemed delighted at the idea of sharing his rooms with me. I have my eye on a sweet Baker Street, he said, which would suit us down to the ground. You don't have, you don't have the smell of it. You don't have the smell of tobacco. I always smoke ships myself, I answered. That's good enough. I generally have chemicals about and occasionally do experiments. Would that annoy you? By no means. Let me see. What are my other shortcomings? I get in the dumps at times and don't open my mouth for days on end. You must not think I am sulky when I do that. Just let me alone, and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? It's the well of two fellows to know the worst of the other before they begin to live together. I laughed at this cross-examination. I keep a bullpup, I said, and I object to Rose because my nerves are shaken, and I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours, and I am extremely lazy. I have another set of vices which I am well, but those are the principal ones at present. Do you include violin playing in your category of Rose? He asked anxiously. It depends on the player, I answered. A well-played violinist is a treat. Is a treat for the gods, a badly played one. Oh, that's all right, he cried with a merry laugh. I think we may consider the thing as settled. This is, if the rooms are agreeable to you. When shall we see them? Call for me here at noon tomorrow, and we'll go together and settle everything, he answered. All right, noon exactly, said I, shaking his hand. We left him working among his chemicals, and we walked together towards my hotel. By the way, I asked suddenly, stopping and turning upon Stanford, how the deuce did he know that I had come from Afghanistan? My companion smiled an enigmatic smile. That's just his little peculiarity, he said. A good many people have wanted to know how he finds things out. Oh, a mystery it is, I cried, rubbing my hands. This is very piquant. I am much obliged to you for bringing us together. Your proper study of mankind is man, you know. You must study him then, Stanford said, as he bade me goodbye. You'll find him a knotty problem, though.